Hey folks, Mr. Dell here. We are looking at this process of solving equations and how to think about grouping symbols within those equations. And so this is a problem that is coming from CPM's course 2, and this is section 6.2.1, specifically number 6-55. So it says when Lakeisha solved the equation 3 times the quantity, right? The quantity x plus 1 equals 12 from the problem 6-54, she reasoned this way. She said, since three groups of x plus 1 equals three groups of 4, then she would know that each group of x plus 1 must equal 4. Do you agree with her reasoning? Right? If we go back to 54, as I mentioned, 54, the equation mat that they represented here was we needed to write the equation, which was 3, you could say 3x plus 3 is what you see there equals 12, but we can actually see this also as 3 groups of x plus 1 equals what? 3 groups of 4. Do you see how that works? So there's x plus 1, x plus 1, x plus 1. So 3 groups of x plus 1 is 3 groups of 4. So there's different ways to represent this equation. So do we agree with her reasoning? And I would say yes. As I look at this, I agree. So do you agree? Yes. Because, oh, well, let me actually take what she's saying one more step here. So it says, since 3 groups of x plus 1 equals 3 groups of 4, then she says that she knows that each group of x plus 1 must be 4, right? So if these 3 groups are equal, then one of the sets would be equal. So yes, I agree. I agree that x plus 1 equals 4, right? Because each of those separate groups have to be equal to each other, and for 3 of them to be the same, right? So that's, and well, the other reason we could also show this agreement is, yes, I agree that. So what we see is, let me rewrite it. So it's 3 groups of x plus 1. She's saying is equal to 3 groups of 4, right? Well, what's true is on an equation, I could actually divide out, right? With an equation, I could divide both sides by 3, and that would divide out the 3's on both sides. And again, then that leads us back to this x plus 1 is equal to 4. So let's keep going. How can the result of Lakeisha's reasoning be written? Well, I think I just did that up there, but I'll do it again. So 3 groups of x plus 1 equals 3 groups of 4. And what we see is if I take and divide out 3, then that's why this x plus 1, because the 3 divides out the 3 divides out the 3 there, that x plus 1 is equal to 4, because that's what's left, right? And then it says verify your answer from problem 5.4 to make sure the equation you wrote in 5 and part B is true. So if we're at x plus 1 is equal to 4 and we're there, the next step would be, what would x equal? Well, x has to equal 3, because you can see that I'd add a -1 tile to each side of the mat, each side of the equation, which would cause that 1 and -1 to become a 0, and 4 minus 1 is 3. So I end up with an answer of x equals 3, and that's what hopefully you had in 54 as well. Okay, there we go.